Hey y'all, welcome to the What Are You Doing in Denmark podcast, where we talk to some of the coolest people in Denmark to find out what they're doing here. I'm your host, Derek, and I'm joined by my co-host, Mike.
That's right. I'm your co-host in life and co-host on the Weighted broadcast. And we are delighted to be joined here by a Danish recording artist. He's somebody who has been playing in front of the future king of Denmark. You've played Pride, you've been an ambassador, you did a number of things, but now you get to add to your CV, being on the Weighted podcast. Here you are. We know you as our friend Malda, but you are Theo X. And you are here on Weighted. Welcome.
Thank you so much. And I need that introduction every day.
Right?
But luckily, I can play the podcast back and just start my day like that.
Yeah.
That'd be fantastic.
Wake up with your CV read aloud to you. That's a wonderful
The alarm
thing.
clock, like old school, like said it.
Good morning, Theo X. Do you remember when you performed for the future king of Denmark?
do.
We'll make sure that we talk to your partner Daniel and mention to him that that's the way you wish to be greeted every
Yes.
single morning.
Yeah. I
It's
think
just a
he's-
recitation of all of your accomplishments. That's a great way to start the day. It's
He's
like
very well aware of that.
I need my tea, my slippers, and remind me who I am and what I've done.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
Every day.
and you've had some great performances as we've discussed and gone over. But I want to just start where maybe it all began and talk a little bit about your go-to karaoke song. What song do you put in straight away when you go to karaoke night?
That should be a simple question, but I'm so over-prepared for like almost everything so that I get like an anxiety attack when I do karaoke, because I will like literally go into the bathroom and find out which songs, because you can't change the key,
Oh, right.
which songs are good in my key,
oh my God.
and then come back and pick a song. But I have found one, which is Michael Bublé's
Oh,
Everything.
Ah.
Yes.
that's beautiful.
For some reason, that song, it's like a showman song, and it's so much fun, and people have like forgotten it exists.
Sure.
So when you play it, people tend to go crazy. But usually a lot of anxiety, over preparedness, and I always want to do, like Cher or Whitney Houston and
Yeah.
stuff, but they're too high.
Ah.
Yeah, it's not a good key. Then you have to switch down when you get to the choruses, and then it doesn't pop.
When you're an amateur like me, so I know you're a professional, and so you're talking about what key do you want to go into. For me, I can do all 12 keys.
Yes.
in
Yeah,
the
and
same
that's just
song.
singing Happy Birthday. He hits every key.
I'm amazing. I can.
Yes.
That's some skill. My go-to karaoke song though is always I have to do a crowd pleaser, right? So I usually do like Brown Eyed Girl. Do you know that song?
Oh, yes, I
Because
do that.
everybody sings
Yes,
along to it.
It's a good song.
So even if I don't,
Takes the pressure off. Yeah.
I'm like, you're not going to notice my singing because you're also singing. Any song that's a crowd pleaser is the way you have to have a little strategy.
Yes, I was actually just thinking one time can be maybe a bit of a drama queen. I asked the
No.
karaoke people to turn off the background singing on the track.
Because you'd rather do a cappella than have that awful,
Yeah,
like,
because there's like
cheap synth beat behind
There's
you.
like some like choir in the background to kind of help you. And I was like, no, it's
I don't
too
need
bad.
this.
I just let me have it. Yes.
Again, opposite experience. We were in a karaoke bar a couple months ago, and I was singing my personal favorite song, and Don't Stop Me Now, obviously, Queen, love
Yeah.
it. Unfortunately, Freddie Mercury, phenomenal singer, Mike Walsh, not. So as I was singing the song and butchering it, they actually turned up the chorus in the background
yes.
because they wanted to make it so there was less me and more them, which is the right choice.
I think that was a brilliant
It's a
choice,
brilliant
honestly.
choice.
You should not be upset about that.
It's like just a little helping hand.
Exactly.
It's
Like
just
the whole
the subtle,
Yes.
that subtle hint that we're not going to stop you now, but we're going
but we should.
to drown you out.
Yeah, exactly.
Some of them can actually turn up the speed of the song as well.
Just get it over with.
Let's get that
that's
shit
genius.
out. Yeah.
But I guess when you're in a karaoke bar, so say, you're like, I'm not going to perform. I don't have it in my key. I'm happy with that one. Do you sit there and judge the performers?
Oh yes. Oh God. Yeah. But not in like a bad way. Like
Sure, you don't
maybe-
necessarily
I don't know,
verbalize
maybe
it.
a little bit bad, but I don't know. I could be like, oh, you shouldn't have picked that song. that's not your song. Like stuff like that. But low key, just around the table. I'm not
Sure.
being. And it's also sometimes actually, I don't know, a little bit weird going up and singing when you can sing. At karaoke bars, because it's kind of like not the MO. It's like we're all a little bit shit here.
Yeah.
So- and sometimes like I can sing, but sometimes there are some girls or men who come up and they are like musical stars, or and they just tear it up, and you can see the person coming after us like, what did I get myself into?
Sometimes we go to karaoke, or sometimes we'll do when we're back in the U.S. We're not we live in Philadelphia, so it's not too far from New York, and occasionally we'll go there for a night on the way flying to or from Denmark. And every now and then we like to do karaoke, but we always try to go you have to go a distinct distance away from Broadway, because you get these people coming from they leave Broadway shows and then go do karaoke after work, and I don't want to be singing with those people.
No, it's their version of open mic night. It's their chance to just kind of go and do that. But the funny part for me is when you had the people that think it's their Broadway. Like I'll never forget when I was in college, like Monday night we went to this one bar, and it was karaoke night, and it's all drunk college kids, and there was one townie, like he lived for Monday night, because he got to come in and he always sang Total Eclipse of the Heart. And he was 2 hands on the microphone, channeling it. Like you could tell that he was spending the whole weekend preparing for Monday night, because he was going on stage.
His Spotify end of year list is just Bonnie Tyler.
Yeah. Well,
it
was 2004, so
okay, so that didn't exist.
Didn't exist then.
But what did exist was that I got so many perfect scores on Total Eclipse of the Heart in SingStar on PlayStation. Yes, I did. Yeah, I had the Divas SingStar.
Not you,
so, like Whitney and I knew them all like by heart, and how to like cheat the score and stuff. Yeah,
and that was the beginning of your performing career, right there.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, a little bit in my bedroom. Yeah,
and then later, in your later years, you covered Cher.
I did. Yeah. Oh wow. Yeah.
Which is a
fantastic.
Yeah.
And also, the fact that I just did that as a fun, and then the label picked it up and thought it could be good, and which was
was
another fun experience. Yeah, it really was. Yeah. Still in my dream, I hope she'll tweet, but it hasn't happened. So.
Maybe she'll cover one of your songs.
Oh, yes, one can dream. Yeah, whoa.
I'm waiting for that, or a collab. Just both of you together.
Yeah, that would be.
She's like, I got you, babe.
Oh, a little Sonny and Cher moment. Yeah.
There you go. Instead of Sonny and Cher, it can be Teo and Cher. There it is.
The position's open.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Is it too soon?
It's not too soon. It's been decades.
I went and saw her live when she played at Royal Arena here in Copenhagen, and they have like Sonny as like a hologram.
Yes.
A little creepy. She like looks at him while she sings. It's like you could just bring in a guy to sing that part.
Right.
Doesn't have to be Sonny.
There's somebody in your entourage that could do that song.
Yeah.
I wonder if maybe she has to like pay his
the estate or something.
And maybe she's like, well, then I'm gonna get every dime out of this.
And it's also good theatrics, I would say.
Yeah.
She's known for her theatrics.
Yes,
I would say
definitely.
The show was, it was fantastic. It was costume changes, it was atmosphere, it was everything. It's what you want. It was drama. It was fantastic.
I just love that she came out and said, I don't know how old she is, but she stated her age and was like, so what's your granny doing tonight? And I was like, more.
And she looks so good.
She looks so good.
It's crazy.
I mean, she might be, 73, but most of her is only 10 years old, no more. So.
Yeah, most of her is younger than we are.
Yes.
So, good
and
for
you
her.
can tell.
Yeah. That's fantastic. So as far as your process then, so I didn't realize this. So you covered Cher and just did it as a side project and it got picked up?
Yeah, totally. Just did it with one of my friends who I worked with at the time. And then my manager was like, there's like actually a booming music industry for doing covers, because if you don't change too much, you can release it without them signing off on it. So really? They still get all the royalties from... You get the royalties from the streaming, but if it goes on the radio, they get all the royalties. There's like a little loophole there that maybe at some point will be closed. So, and if you wind up on some of these covers playlists on Spotify, you get millions.
Really?
Yeah, it's crazy. And then the label heard it and thought, oh, you know what, maybe we could get picked up somewhere. So that's why they took it on. Wow. So that was wonderful.
That's fantastic. And what's your process usually like? I mean, you write all of your own songs, correct?
I do. It's actually changed a bit because now I've started doing new music. But maybe I can say what I used to do, which was a bit like this. Actually, you go to the studio, you meet with your producer, and you're like, kind of, do you have anything lying around, or do I have any like words? Most of the time, I come in with a hook, like for instance, "You Don't Want to Dance," or "I Want My Friends Around," or "Hey Chico," or "Junkie Lover." You know, that kind of like that one thing that sticks in your mind, which is, I guess, what you want in a pop song, and then we build around that. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how do you collaborate when you do that? Because, and I say that a little bit because obviously Derek and I, everything we do is collaboration. And there's give and take. You have ideas and good ideas, bad ideas that you share in that. When you collaborate on something as creative as a song, like, how do you work with someone in that way? How do you kind of take that hook and then be able to build it out from there and share ideas?
I think once you kind of figure out, is it going to be upbeat? Is it going to be slow? What's it going to be? Then you just put some chords down and you just go to the mic and start singing and try. And it can be a lot of just rambling. And then you just kind of get an idea, where are we today? What's going to happen here? And then you just, it's like Lego blocks. You just start building, start writing. It also depends if you have a writer with you in the studio, like a co-writer. Then they're usually really good at taking charge. Because they do that for a living. So it's like, oh, I have this idea, and they're always like, that's the most amazing idea I've ever had. And then you just bolt out of the cage and go to the piano like, "You don't want to dance," like, and start. I wrote that one myself though, but yeah. So it could be very different. But the process now is literally, I write all the lyrics, and then I have a new producer and a co-writer that only does lyrics, not melodies. And usually it's more like poems, and then I send them to my producer, and he does all the music and melodies and stuff, and then we send it back and forth. And that's actually a wonderful process, because you start with like the essence, if that makes sense. Like everything's captured in the lyrics, and you spend so much time on it, like you would if you would release it on text as like a poem. So that's really fun to start working more in that direction, and kind of moving maybe away from the hook and more into like, what is it I want to say? So the new songs are going to be a lot more personal.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So how has that evolution been? So I guess when you were probably younger, you were sitting there and you're writing, probably, would you write the lyrics first or the melody first in your mind when you were kind of early on in your career, even when you were like maybe a teenager and just writing kind of before becoming professional?
I think both. Yeah, I think it's always like accompanied, if that makes sense. When you have the hook, you always have like a little melody to it. Like, how does it go? And then you can kind of visualize, what do you want it to be? Like, is it gonna be like this dirty club banger, or for instance with "You Don't Want to Dance," I was so in love with Tom Misch at the time. He had this song called Disco Yes, I think. That was such a like a modern take on disco, and that took me back to like the 80s and kind of wanting to tangle with that a little bit. So you kind of have, I don't know, some type of feelings inside, like, where's this song gonna go? And I think then the producer's job is to kind of like grab all of these ideas and put them together, and then you're like, wow, yeah, okay.
Is that often that you'll have like maybe a song in mind? It's going to sound kind of like this.
Like a reference song. Yeah. And sometimes it's quite literal. Like, I like this C part with these chord changes, or it switches key, and that could be cool. Or it's in a different, time. But most of the time, I'm like, I love this universe. I love this feeling I get when I hear this song. We don't have to do this song, of course. It's not plagiarism.
Right.
But how this makes me feel is kind of what I want to portray in this song. And I think, and usually whatever comes out the other end is completely different, but you kind of share a bandwidth around.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's always going to iterate around as you do different things, but that's cool. That's a neat evolution.
Yeah. And really interesting to hear your process and how you collaborate with others. And it's funny that came up, because we think that, strongly think that we need to collaborate with you as BFFs. And we want to play a game that we do with all of our guests to find out whether Mike or I will be your BFF for at least the rest of the show.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to give you a series of questions, and you can just pick between the two. Mike and I answered them.
Okay.
And so we've given you two options, and we're going to see whose you pick, and it'll be best 2 out of 3. to see if Mike or I will be
that's
your BFF
fun.
for the show. And we can
Yes.
see after that, where things go. But I think at least until the end of the show. So the first question, it is BFF karaoke night, but you can do a duet with only one of us. And your options are perhaps a little bit ruined, but either Don't Stop Me Now by Queen or Wake Me Up Before You Go Go by Wham.
Oh,
But you can only do one.
has someone cheated? Because
I think somebody's been feeding you suggestions here.
Well, I kind of know one
you
of
can
them,
put it in a vacuum.
but I'm
and
also,
decide.
a huge George Michael fan, and I have faith tattooed here.
Wow.
Gotta have faith, the faith, the faith. So I have to go with "Wake Me Up Before You Go Go,"
Okay,
and it's
well,
also a very special song to me, actually. Yeah,
Really?
It is, yeah.
Why is it special? What is it?
It was played at my partner's grandma's funeral as we left the church, which I think kind of explains what a wonderful person she was.
Wow.
To have Wham play
Yeah.
it on the way
Oh my
out
God,
and
yes.
said, "It's not a crying event; it's a
Yeah.
dance party."
Oh, I love
yeah,
that.
she was fantastic.
Wow.
So I love that song.
What
And
a,
she would love to see it on karaoke night.
There we go. So for her, we'll do. Yes. Okay. So and that's 1 point for me. She would probably, I think, want us. To
I'm
be
so
BFFs.
sorry, Mike.
That's okay. That's okay. It's a great song. I just
Yeah,
watched the
it
Wham
is.
documentary.
Oh, it's wonderful.
so-
Did you see
Oh, I
that?
haven't seen it yet.
Oh,
I'm gonna watch
fantastic.
it today.
It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal. It's really
Yeah.
good.
And I love that. What a cool celebration of life. I want a song like that played at my funeral.
Yeah,
I actually
was
want
literally like, and it wasn't even a funeral; it was a life celebration. I was like, yes, this is what we should do.
I said, I think when I was maybe 21 when the song came out, that I want Umbrella by Rihanna played at my funeral.
okay.
And I said it as a 21-year-old would, like, with a beer in my hand and playing on the jukebox and that at the bar. Not the jukebox, but a touchscreen one. I'm not that old. And I was like, I want this song played at my funeral, and I stand by that. So if I
Really
go,
good.
yeah,
It's in the will.
it's in the will.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, second question: your BFF has booked you a truly incredible musical collaboration, but you can only pick one person to collaborate with. Are you going to collaborate with Lizzo or Pink?
Oh wow, that's actually hard.
Yeah. It's not supposed to be easy.
No,
When it comes
I
to
love
BFFs.
both of them. Yeah, I've never seen Pink live. I've seen Lizzo a couple of times. She's fantastic, but can I just say, she also intimidates me. a tiny bit.
Right?
I think for some reason I would get along more with Pink, maybe, and our voices would sound maybe cool together. But yeah, I don't know. I think I'm gonna have to go with Pink, and I might get slated for this.
Nah.
No,
Pink's
I
fantastic.
approve because
Okay.
I suggested Pink. I think
Okay. I just think our voices would sound good together.
I think so.
And
I think your energy's
Lizzo would kill the shit out of me in a singing competition.
she would be intimidated. I feel like
Yeah.
that would be like imposter syndrome on imposter syndrome
I'd
on
get
imposter
like
syndrome.
I would do
Yes.
like the in the background. That's what I would get.
I mean, they're both fantastic. That's
Yeah.
hard to, but Pink is also from like a town over for me from where I grew up. So I've always.
Take her as basically your hometown girl.
She's kind of my hometown girl. I've never seen her live either, though, and I really wanted to go to her summer festival tour this summer, but I didn't get tickets. But yeah, I absolutely adore Pink, and also intimidating though.
Yes, but she just has this kind of bad mom vibe energy that I love. Yeah.
I feel like she's got such a she's just a genre buster too,
Yeah,
which
she
I feel
is.
like you are musically as well. Just
Thank you.
to,
Yeah, like I don't think she.
you can't put her in a box.
Like
and-
her last album was like dirty beats on the dance floor, country. She
right.
was everywhere.
There's just no like what do you call her genre? There's really no and I think also she kind of nails that I don't know, she's just cool, right? Like there's just nothing bad about it. Third one, then we'll just. I mean, I've already won.
You've already
We're
won.
BFFs at this point.
Yes.
But, well, let's just see where we land if I can maybe get the trifecta. So, BFF road trip playlist. We're doing a lot of music for you. So, the first song on the road trip playlist for the BFF road trip is it going to be "Rain on Me" by Lady Gaga featuring Ariana Grande or "Shake It Off" by Taylor Swift?
Easy, Taylor Swift.
Trifecta, 3 out of 3. Wow.
I'm a big Taylor. Yes,
Absolutely. Speaking of tours that I want to go to,
Oh
still
my
have
god,
it
that
in line.
looks insane.
I just don't have $1 million kroner.
No, yeah.
And I didn't even try to do all the things you had to do to get on the
People
list.
now have like concert tickets in Stockholm and Hamburg and München because they like
They just put
just
their
went
name in everything.
crazy.
I think I'm just going to try to
Yeah.
buy 2 tickets or 1. You don't have to come. I'll take my BFF.
Right?
I would love that.
Yeah. Let's go.
But my partner might be a little angry.
That's true. Well,
Yours as well. Maybe.
yeah, yeah. Well, they can go out to
That
a
we
nice
get to see Tay Tay.
Yeah, they can go to Tivoli. And we'll,
Okay, it's
my
a deal.
God.
we'll go to Tivoli.
Tivoli? No,
no.
Jesus.
Okay. But Taylor Swift got her start famously with some country music.
Yes, she did.
Yes.
Yeah, that was so cute.
And that's something that you're kind of dipping your toes into a bit yourself, right?
Yeah.
Or at least you've grown a bit fond of it.
I have. I traveled the States a couple of years ago now, after I finished college. So I don't even want to say like 12 years ago or something.
Let's not worry
Let's
about how
edit
long
that
ago
out.
it was.
Sure, yes.
Yeah, we can cut that. Nobody listens to
No.
this anyway.
And like it started out as a fun thing because like no matter what state you're in, there's like a 24-hour country station.
There's always
Always.
country music.
And I was like, it didn't matter if you were in New York or if you were in Dallas.
You can
Like,
be in the Bronx, and
Yes.
there's going to be a country
Yeah,
music.
Oh, yeah.
exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we were driving like through Detroit, like close to all the riots and stuff. So everything was just burnt down because they had like, they just left their house and burned it down. It was a horrible story. And we were like listening to Tim McGraw and Taylor Swift on the radio. We were like, this is two different types of America.
It's a different barbecue.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's the
No?
Yeah. I heard it for like 2 weeks and we laughed at it. 3rd week, fell in love. Been in love ever since. And yeah.
I went to college university in Universität in rural Pennsylvania. So we always say Pennsylvania is like Philadelphia on one side, Pittsburgh on the other side, and Kentucky in the middle, meaning it's
Okay.
like very rural redneck kind of in the middle.
Yeah.
We call it Pennsyltucky. So I went to university in Pennsyltucky, and again, a lot of country music.
Yeah.
I hated it when I first got there, but by the end of my first semester, I gained 5 kilos and an appreciation for country music. I had a roommate who was from Perry County. They have one
Okay.
traffic light in the entire county.
Oh, fantastic.
Yes.
Yes.
And I was like, okay, the city boy might have a newfound
little
appreciation.
country
A little
vibe now.
country in me.
I mean, country's good. Like
Yeah.
it's got a soul to it. Like,
It does.
When you say that, we actually stopped in one city, and I think it was called Deer Lodge or Elk Lodge
That
or
sounds right.
something.
Yeah.
Like up, like in the north type mids somewhere. And I went to go and buy cigarettes, and all the stores were closed. I think it was a Sunday, so I went into the bar. And first of all, then he checked my ID, and he said, "I don't believe you're 21." And I said, I showed him my ID, and then he got angry, took my ID, threw it in my face, and shouted, "We don't serve your kind in here, and if you don't leave, I have a shotgun under the bar."
What?
I was like, I'm just trying to be a customer.
You met my Uncle Tim?
Yeah, wonderful.
From Elkton?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and they had one traffic light, so that's why I got.
Oh my God.
Reminisced.
What even is your kind?
Yeah.
Yes.
And right next to that, we went to like a vegan shop, and they were
Listen
like,
here,
so
pretty
sweet.
boy.
It was strange, fucking strange.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
that is like a microcosm of America, I have to say.
Yeah.
The,
Yes.
the vegan store, the redneck bar, like
The shotgun.
the shotgun.
shotgun.
Like
All
it's like
the
it's like
things.
all the cliches kind of
Yeah.
in one place.
And just what you want. Yeah.
Right, it's the experience you were looking for. That was that was your road trip.
And the same place, we went to like a museum for what's the cultural term? Native American.
Yes.
Yes.
Go with that.
And the guy was like over 6 feet tall, massive, had a shotgun. No, not a shotgun, a revolver that filled his entire thigh. Asked us where we were from. We said Denmark. He did not know where it was. He said, "Thank God you're not European faggots."
What?
Because I shoot them.
What? Where did you go?
I but it was so fun. So we were like, oh yeah, fuck
No.
them Europeans, like because we just, he was so entertaining. So we're like, we need to get more out of this guy. Like, where you from? What's your story? Yeah, it was wild. But I have to say, 99% of the Americans I met were not crazy. They were absolutely wonderful.
I feel like you went to the wrong places. We'll work on a better itinerary. We did a road trip in the South that actually was
it was fantastic.
quite
We had-
lovely.
Hospitality in the South
we had-
is
We had Waffle House every day, basically.
oh.
I mean, like we weren't running around with rainbow flag apparel and things like that. I'm sure that I'm sure that they have some thoughts that don't comport with mine in some of these places that we were. But I got a haircut in like Knoxville, Tennessee, and it was like some of the nicest people.
Oh, it was super nice. And everywhere. I mean, we were in different places. We were in Savannah and Charleston. We did tours, and it's very obvious that we were a couple. And like,
yeah, but those are cities. I mean,
I know.
some of the. I mean, Knoxville is, I guess, a city as well. But
yeah. Again, it's a country of 330 million people. Like, you're going to meet
a lot of flavors,
shotgun
a lot
and
of
revolver guys. But
I've never had that happen to me.
no, me neither.
No,
You're missing out. Go to Elk Lodge,
Elk
Deer
Lodge?
Lodge, maybe.
Elk Lodge.
I have it in a diary.
Iowa?
I'll find the name. Yeah, we can get them a lot of tourism.
Wow. Just the kind they deserve.
Exactly.
Wow.
But the country music, so has that influenced your music as you've fallen in love with country music? Has it changed how you see music as well?
Very, very much. And I actually grew up like with folk music, like from my childhood home. Everything was Bob Dylan, Cat Stevens, James Taylor. So I've always loved the story, if that makes sense. And that's also what I always try to do in my pop music. Every little song has its own story, like. But I just feel now with this whole country influence that's been growing inside me and like my old folk roots, so to speak, I've gone a lot more back to that with the new songs that's coming out. And I don't care if it's over 3 minutes long. It's like,
right.
No, like we need to finish the story. Like you can't always do it in the set time slot and 120 beats per minute and all of this, and it has to be A B C B B, like just what makes sense. And I think I've let go of many of those pop kind of restrictions almost or like rules, and just now focus more on the story.
And the 3-minute song thing, that's, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's something that has to do with streaming, right? Isn't that something that...
Yeah, and radio.
Okay, and radio.
I think that's also where...
And Eurovision.
And of course Eurovision, yeah. You can't do 3 minutes and 1 second on Eurovision. I don't know how it started, like years ago, like even Queen and stuff, they didn't do it. Like, so I think it's just...
Beyonce doesn't do it now.
No, and I like that.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I'm
but
like,
they do radio
She
edits.
doesn't need to... Oh, they do a radio
Yes,
edit
they
for
do.
3 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because people are moving fast in this world. Like we have the attention span of little mice.
Yeah.
And I'm the same. I'm not some holier than thou person. I'm exactly the same. Yeah.
So you talked about the music in your home growing up. So is your family musical? Like, did musical influences there, or did you kind of find music on your own to start going and performing and picking up a guitar and kind of moving from singing in the school choir to turning it into a passion?
There's always been music in my home in terms of that. My mom would always listen to music, but they are not musical in any way. But they have a lot of musical friends. So every time there was parties, we would have, the friends would bring guitars and they would play. And very early on, my mom had these, what's it called, living room concerts, and got like known and unknown Danish artists out, and they played in our living room. And she would invite all her friends over and would just put money in a hat.
Oh my God.
And before all these people played, we would sit and have dinner with them, and they would tell me about life on tour. And, I was very impressionable young little kid, and get to meet all these people. So in that sense, I feel like it was a musical home, but none of them can carry a tune or play an instrument. But they definitely made up for it in different ways. Yeah, and then kind of this older guy, played the guitar on my street, and I went to him and got guitar lessons. And that's kind of where it started when I was 11, 12 years old. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Did you perform in like school musicals and stuff like that, or was it okay? So,
Yeah.
you turned into a full like music kid at that point.
Yeah, and it was weird because I was also a sports kid, so I felt like at some point I had to make a little bit of a choice because the music career took me down a route of a lot of cigarettes and a lot of alcohol, and the sports career was like it was starting to get intense.
At least you have something to blame it on, because I
Yes.
don't. I just have
Oh.
I just have all the problems without the music career.
Yeah, and then I chose music. Thank God. I was not a very good handball player. I think I was more there for team morale. But yeah, and did musicals, amateur musicals, and started out as a dancer because my voice was not very good back then. Took a lot of practice, a lot of choir, a lot of stuff, and then started getting the leads, which was fantastic. Yeah.
What was
I
your first
actually
lead?
auditioned. My manager got me an audition for the ABBA musical in Copenhagen.
Really?
Yeah, and I went. And
Everything's a musical now.
yeah. And I went and auditioned, and it was the most horrible experience I ever tried. Then afterwards, we were supposed to do like the dance audition, and I have no dance experience. Everything was like musical theater kids with like professional musical theater degrees. And they just came out, these two Swedish guys, were like, could you please come with us? I'm like, we're not going to go further with you. And they just sent me home, and I was there for like, I don't know, 40 minutes or something.
Was it Benny? Was it like the actual?
But they have like a whole team. It's insane. Like everything is scripted down to where they have to stand on the stage.
Oh, wow.
What people they can cast, how they should look. It's like a Bible. Like there's no creative freedom in there. So they're basically like brand keepers or gatekeepers for like this musical.
I mean,
Yeah.
it kind of makes sense that the ABBA musical is put together kind of like an IKEA bookcase.
Yes,
That's
exactly.
true.
Yeah.
So just bit by bit.
They're like,
Oh, no.
can we see you? Here's an Allen wrench.
Yes.
Go home.
Yeah. Or like these annoying things you have no clue what to do with. And yeah.
Yeah. What? How did it feel then on the other side? Because I know you casted even some child actors and dancers for probably one of the most moving videos, at least to me personally, that really spoke to me, which is "You Don't Want to Dance." I obviously probably knew where I was going with that, but how did it feel to kind of be on the other side and crush some dreams, or basically cast people?
I basically did the opposite. Anyone who wanted to be in the video got in the video, and some people.
I wanted to be.
Yeah, we didn't know each other at the time.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Derek.
Okay, but I would have been. Okay.
Yes, of course.
Okay,
Well,
okay.
you might have been
The
a
next
bit
one.
taller than the rest of the kids.
Not by much.
Or you could have played the DJ if you see the video.
I saw the DJ. Yeah.
There's a fine-looking DJ.
It was
doing
quite
some-
intense. It was very intense DJ. It was very nice.
And if the listeners don't know, I'm the DJ in the
Yeah,
video.
right.
And
Right.
I shaved myself bald and grew a mustache for that role. So very all in.
Yeah, so look at me now, ABBA musical.
Yeah. Go F yourself.
Go fuck yourself. I have a mustache.
Yes. But yeah, so everybody basically got in the video, and it was so much fun, and the kids were fantastic. But of course, it wasn't a massive production, so we literally had to shoot the whole thing in like 6 hours. So yeah.
So it had to be dark.
Yeah,
For the end,
yes.
and
So we shot
light-
that actually the night before. That's the
okay.
only scene we shot the night before.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, like you need a 6-hour window where
Yeah.
it's dark at the end, but lighter.
Yeah, and I've
That's the
decorated
trickiest
that
part.
whole gym hall myself out of this, like, do you say velour in velvet?
Velvet.
cloth, because it was the cheapest. And put that on
have.
all the
You're
walls. and
like I'm robbing a flying tiger.
yes, exactly.
Going to Tia, getting everything and some velvet.
And you need so much. It was like a gigantic gym hall.
Just
Like,
tearing it down
like,
afterward.
300 meters of velvet tablecloths that I hung up everywhere. Yeah.
So an evening gown out of it.
Yes.
At least.
Yeah.
Wow. But and how were the kids? I mean, because obviously it was probably a little bit tricky.
Yeah, it was.
Spoiler: if you go watch the video, it's about a boy who has a crush on a boy in his class, and in the video you don't see that coming until kind of the end.
Yeah.
And that I think that's why. There were no videos like that, music videos like that when I was growing up. So
No,
I think
exactly.
to see that,
That's why I did it.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
because like then when you think
I had those feelings, but nowhere
Exactly.
to nowhere nowhere to
Express it.
feel like somebody understood me,
Yeah.
or saw what that
And
was.
there was not really many gay reference points, I think, when we grew up. It's so much better.
Unless it
now
was
for
somebody
this.
dying of AIDS,
Yes,
or somebody that was
busting
just
George Michael in a toilet,
right.
and he's absolutely horrendous and disgusting. And
flamboyant people pushed to the margins of society. That was the only way you saw gay representation.
Really, and also, I don't know. I grew up in a small town in Denmark, and I didn't really know any gay people. Like, it was just like a bit wishy-washy to me, and there was no one on TV, and if there were, they were like impossible to relate to. Anyway, that's not the story, but yeah, so it was actually problematic finding the kids to play the lead characters because they were so afraid that they would be bullied. So like I would have kids that said, okay, I want to play the lead, and then I kind of explained just like a short little script what was going to happen. And of course the kids were young, they were like 13 at the time. So I was talking to their parents, and their parents got back to me and said, you know what, Bill is going to have to pull out because he's so afraid he'll get bullied in school, even though he really wants to do it. So yeah, a lot of kids said that. But luckily the two boys that played, Julian and Noah, had the guts to do it. Just said, fuck it. Seems like a fun. And yeah, they had a lot of fun on set. Yeah, and all the kids were like playing around. I had to like kind of be a bit firm, but also like it's not a professional.
Did you also feel like a middle school teacher?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. And I'm thinking I'm not a very good teacher. Maybe like, come on, kids, come on, let's get together.
Do your dance.
Do your dance. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But I think it also shows that even, we think like modern day, that kind of thing exists now, that you have representation. And still in, 2018 Denmark, still kids were afraid of getting bullied a little bit for being in there. It shows the need for that kind of representation.
For playing a part.
Playing a part,
And the song is not that old. Is it like 4 years old or something? So that is actually crazy. I hope now when they grow up, there's so much like... You too are content creators as well, gay married men, wonderful, and the kids will see all of this, hopefully on their TikToks and their feeds, and have some people to relate to.
I guess with that song, because you also got a lot of feedback from people for the impact that song had, not even just for the video, but for the song itself. What was it like hearing from older gays talking about how that song made them feel?
Oh, I almost can't talk about
like me. Are you calling me old because I just told
I
you.
had like old guys from Russia writing to me that they were basically bawling and in tears, and and that still to this day they are like hiding themselves, and they wish for this world to be true, that people can, like, it doesn't matter if you ask a boy or a girl to dance. So I got a lot of feedback like that, and that was very moving because that's some of what I had in myself at that time, and then luckily found courage and support and everything, and the place in the world where I was that I could come out relatively pain-free. But that's just not the case for everyone, and I think especially if people have lived through, who are older than us, of course we stand a lot on their shoulders in many behalves, but there's still a lot of people who face so much stigmatism, and also like introverted homophobia, I think, lives in a big part of that generation.
Oh yes.
Which is painful.
Yeah. But I mean, I just think it's so brilliant that you didn't see yourself represented and then said, fuck it, I'm going to go make that.
Yeah.
I'm going to make that art that I didn't have, and you got to be that for somebody else. So
thank you.
So,
and I had a couple of kids who wrote to me that they found the courage to ask a boy to dance. So that was also very lovely.
Oh, that had to feel fantastic.
Yeah.
Did you expect this kind of feedback when you wrote the song? Were you surprised that people felt something from it?
I think you're always a little bit surprised when your music resonates, like on the level you want it to resonate, because like that rarely actually happens, I feel. And maybe we just hit that one head on the nail, kind of. And yeah, I was surprised, and also mostly surprised that it was so much foreign like interest and engagement, like because Denmark is a small pond and that's usually where you get your feedback from. But for the first time, like got people writing to me from Spain and Russia and the UK, and yeah, so that was really cool.
I mean, it's such an authentic song. I mean, it's a story. You're telling your story and it's authentic, and that's I think what resonates with people. So, you know, it's just wonderful. Have you had anything that maybe you thought was going to take off but didn't go as far as you thought?
All
sure
my songs?
Those I'm like, I'm sure those are...
Yeah, I had my song Friends, which I thought it's one of the best pop songs I've ever written. And it was like, it just encapsulated so much what I felt at that time. Like all my friends were getting kids and getting married, and as a gay man, you're like 10 years behind, I feel, or you never get there.
We have that stunted adulthood.
It's like, do I give up this massive amount of freedom I have, but I also, on the other hand, maybe want this more quiet, family style life,
house with the yard,
house with the yard, and a fucking dog, like a good loud dog. So yeah, and I just loved that song, but that never got picked up by radio. And I was like, this is the one to get picked up.
It's a bop. It's
a banger, and I wrote it with some really talented guys.
And it's so relatable. I mean,
I'm glad.
Maybe because I feel that
Similar
a lot. I'm like, you know, same thing. Like, you know, my friends are getting married, and I'm like, and I'm like getting a beach house and getting day drunk, you know, at 30 or whatever. You know, like that's what I totally relate to.
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
And most of the people that's written to me about the song have asked what bass I use. So, yeah, so it's like producers that's heard it, and I'm like, I don't fucking know.
You're like, wait, that's what you want to know about the song? That's
the technical specifications of it.
I don't know what bass. Probably, I don't know, 808 something.
Wow.
So having lived through the experience of having a bit of a hit, having something you thought was going to be a hit, not be a hit, what is it that it takes to make it onto radio? What is it that takes to kind of make the leap? And there's got to be a little bit of science to it and a little bit of luck to it, but kind of living in the industry, what does it seem like?
Yeah, I think maybe I'll go start a little different place, because I think for a long time I was chasing radio, and I don't know necessarily if that works. Maybe if you have a massive label, because then they kind of take care of everything, and then either it hits or it doesn't. But it's actually it's hard to be in, because you have all these expectations for every song, and then it doesn't hit. So it can be a lot of defeat, almost hard to be in. So where I am now is I try not to care, and I just do the songs I want to do. If they pick it up, fine. If they don't, also fine. Okay. Like, so I've come a long way, I think, also growth-wise, what I want to do with my music. And I had a time where, like, I literally tried to find the magic formula, and like, what are they gonna pick up? And also maybe some of the songs, I love them, but wouldn't normally be like what I identified as. Like, it maybe got too pop and lost the storyline a little bit or something in between those two things. So I think maybe it lost a little bit of its, what do you call it, authenticity at some point, and then you also lose a little bit of yourself when you do your music. So it took some time. Luckily, COVID happened.
Yeah, we're all
luckily,
just so lucky.
Not luckily. Oh shit, that was weird to phrase it like that, but it gave me a lot of time to think. And I felt like, okay, I'm just gonna stop making music, and then it just drew me. You know, I started writing all these poems, and all of a sudden, back in the little pond. But it's a lot smaller now, and it's a good place to be, I think. So.
And we were going to ask, because like you had, like, 2018 was a massive year for you. I mean, that's a year that you were on the Rainbow Awards, Copenhagen Pride, played for the future King and Queen of Denmark, getting picked up on that. And then you know, COVID came through, things stopped. Like, how is that? Like, let's go back to the first one. What was 2018 like for you? What was that 6-month period that just seemed like it was win on win on win?
Yeah, insane. And that's also why then you come out the other end feeling like, okay, does it just stop? Like what's going to happen now, you know? But that was a crazy year, and I wouldn't change it for anything in the world. Yeah, played all over Denmark, played Athens, Vienna, live TV. Got to meet all the royals, Danish royals, Swedish royals.
Tivoli?
Well, Tivoli, I played Tivoli, and yeah, so much good shit. And like, just to be at that party with all the royals, like that's the story you tell your grandchildren, you know? Like I was doing shots with Frederick and like dancing with Mary. I actually, fun story, I told my guitarist.
What does Mary smell like?
Like
Linen?
Goddess.
I feel like
Empress, I don't know.
I feel like it's got to be lilac or
She's
linen.
so
or
sweet. You know what? She
she
stood
has
and
to be,
chatted to
right.
me for like 40 minutes, and there was like 150 people at this party, and I'm like, you can't give 40 minutes to everyone, and you spend them with me. Like she's a doll.
Yeah,
I
but it's hard for
adore
foreigners in Denmark to make friends. So she.
her. Oh yeah, that's why she invited me. Yeah,
She's like, thank you.
but I had told there's so many good stories from this party, but I had told my guitarist that if I ever became, you know, a little bit too rowdy, you know, it's a free bar. So
I've been at a party with you, so I can see why he.
then they come and pull me. I don't want to make any scenes. Like then, and when you say
A royal incident.
now, then I just say, okay, I'm not gonna fight with you. I'll just accept that things have transpired in a way that's led to this moment. And I was on the dance floor with Mary, and I don't know. I felt like we were grooving, you know. And maybe I was grooving a little too much, you know. Maybe there was some hip action that was a bit not royally approved. And my guitarist came and like pulled me in the shit and was like, "Now
You're
And I was
twerking
like,
on the
yes,
Crown Princess.
Yes, I am
Time to go.
grinding Mary. It's time to go." But we were having a blast. Yeah. Oh my God, I'm getting red in the face. Yes. Thank you for guitarists who stay semi-sober.
You need to have a good team around you.
Right. Yeah, you do.
For when you grind.
Yes. Yeah.
On the future queen.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then COVID gave you a chance to unwind and kind of
Yeah,
gather
it was
yourself?
sad a lot because I was ambassador for Copenhagen 2021 and I was going to do a world tour and play. Like, little boy was like, my dreams come true.
Yeah.
I'm going to go see the world. And then that all got shut down. But it just gave me so much time to think. And I'm in a much happier place, I feel. And also the new songs. And unfortunately for your international audience, the new songs will be in Danish. But I will... I don't know. Send them a translation if they want to listen to it.
Hey, there's a lot of
Oh,
really
yeah,
great Danish
exactly
music.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's been
Have an AI translation.
Yeah, always.
Always. Subtitles on.
Yes.
I mean, even in the U.S., foreign language songs, think of a lot of the Latin songs. Then, I mean, Despacito's almost entirely in Spanish, and it was #1 for like...
Shakira.
Exactly.
I don't know.
So a good song's a good song when it comes down to it. What do you feel when you write in English versus Danish? Do you feel like it's a different... There's a different Teo X, different Malta that writes differently in English and Danish? Do you express differently? Do you think differently?
It becomes a lot more deep for some reason when it's in Danish. Like, I think there will always be a little bit of a distance between you and the lyric because it's not your first language.
Sure.
So that disappears, and then it becomes, you kind of have to almost have a little chat with yourself, like, how real am I gonna be? Because like you can also write songs that are quite painful, you know, and it's gonna be public at some point. So that's kind of the discussions you had. But it's a nice place to be because you do so much soul searching in the music, and you get to have these little timestamps of where you've been and what you've felt, and all of which is good. You get out on the other side, or you've written something that you really want to remember, feeling and emotion, and so it just becomes, I think, a bit more wholesome, close to heart. Yeah.
I can imagine that. I think any time that you tap into yourself, like language, I think that's something that I think we've learned living abroad is how much of like interculture language is.
Oh, yeah.
And you only sense that when you're away from your native tongue. I mean, when we're in the U.S., it's all English. And so I think it's interesting that that creative way that you have has to be completely different between the two.
Yeah. And not that I can 100% relate, but I was in Canada with my partner for 6 months. So I didn't. But, you know, I felt so homesick. I just wanted someone to speak Danish to me, you know, like that's all I wanted. Like, just go to a coffee shop and hear someone talk Danish, and my heart would melt.
I can definitely relate because even, you know, living in Denmark, where I think 86% of Danes speak English as a second language. Fact.
Oh,
and
wow, really?
yeah,
Cool.
and so it's great, because it's a lot easier to adapt when you can at least get by with your mother tongue. But you miss having. Sometimes I just want to have a couple beers with Americans,
Yeah.
or even first language, because they understand my references, they
Yeah.
understand what I'm talking about,
Yeah.
and sure, I can communicate. Like in Canada, you speak English. Canada shouldn't be too difficult, depending where you are. I know you speak a little bit of French as well, so like everybody can get by in Canada, right?
Yeah.
But having somebody that understands the cultural part of your language
Exactly.
is
Yeah. That
is,
was
special.
so I
So
felt
writing has
also
to
I
be-
could relate to my partner a little bit what he's been going through, and I think when you move somewhere you really have to accept the culture to not get insanely homesick. Like otherwise it'll be a bit of a
you have to jump in.
yeah
fully.
you do yeah.
As you say that, so your partner Daniel, he's British, and how has it changed your perspective of the world having a partner who's foreign? Does it change your perspective of being Danish, living in Denmark? Like, kind of how has you haven't left Denmark, but obviously there's been a change now that you have somebody in your life who's not Danish. How has that changed you?
Oh, in lots of ways.
The tea, all
The tea, yes, all the fucking tea. Like, what is going on with the Brits and the tea? It's like, and even, my partner's from Yorkshire, and he's like, oh, the tea tastes different in Yorkshire because they have different water.
fucking tea.
And I'm like, Jesus Christ. Yeah, and every time they serve a cup of tea, it doesn't matter. It's like, good cuppa. Oh, good cuppa, love. Oh, good cuppa. I'm like, it's tea. It can't all be good cuppas. You need to like save that for like when someone like pulls out. Oh, we were actually in Canada and we went to like, what you get the high noon tea or something, like it's a British thing. And it was like an old British hotel. And this very gay waiter came with like a book the size of an underarm, and you could open it and smell all the teas that you were going to have. And I said to this waiter, I said, could I just get a cup of black coffee? And he literally like,
So in American culture, we really reject tea. It goes back to the Revolutionary War with Britain. We dumped tea in the Boston Harbor. That's how it started. So we're like, fuck tea.
yes. Yeah, I relate. That's why I love Americans. Yeah, so much more relatable.
However, just to shine a mirror back at you, the Danes are kind of like that with certain things too, like butter,
my
for
God.
example. I have a friend who was asking me what I eat at Christmas, and I'm like, well, there's no like American Christmas meal. And he was like, I'm like, oh, we have this and we have that. He's like, oh, but you don't have the Arla butter. And I was like, it's fucking butter,
Yeah.
man.
Yes.
We have butter.
But that's also what you learn when you
But
get a foreign partner.
I get you take pride in the
How
things that you do.
insane we are. We are batshit in Denmark. It's like one big cult of like a nationalistic folk party. It's like, what did you say about the Queen?
Oh my gosh! Like,
Well, we know. You should
We
see
know.
our comments.
yeah,
section.
Yeah.
we can't
never
read the YouTube comments. And I say,
talk
or like, we made a video where we ate the Julefrokost and reacted to it. And overall, I thought we had a very positive reaction, but I was like, apparently we were using the wrong bread and the wrong spread and the wrong fish at the wrong time. I was like, it all goes the same place.
Yeah, it is almost religious being Danish.
Very.
Like,
The things that matter and then the things that like just don't matter
Yes,
in Denmark are
exactly.
very funny
Yes.
extremes.
and the things that matter are like a matter of life and death. Yeah, it's insane. Like our New Year's speech. I remember I brought my partner over. We met in like November or something. And he came over here and celebrated New Year's. And all my friends, we stand up and we have a hand on the heart and we listen to Maggie, good old Mags. And he was mortified. He was like, have I entered like a cult? And he started speaking during the speech because, of course, he didn't understand a word she was saying.
So
he wanted a translation. And people were like, who did you bring? Who did you bring? Who does this?
Can I say, I actually have my aunt and my grandmother. Back home in Pennsylvania, I have them watching the Queen's speech.
Oh, really?
Yes,
We watched
it with
them.
them. One since we've been over here 7 years, we always come back for New Year's. But 1 year we spent it back in the States. So we stopped there on New Year's Eve. And of course, with the 6-hour time difference, I guess it must have been, 11 or noon? Yeah, it was noon. And so my aunt loves the Danish Royal Family.
Really? Oh,
yes, it's really.
fantastic.
I'm just spreading Danish culture around North America.
Yes.
We watched it, and she was like, "Oh, that was so good." What did she say?
Yeah.
She's so lovely. What the hell did that mean?
Yes. Yeah.
She said Greenland, right? Yes.
Oh, good. Yes, she did.
Yeah. I recently heard a story from your partner about you celebrating New Year's abroad.
Yes.
And I think perhaps in Germany?
Yes, we were in Hamburg. We have some lovely German friends. First of all, the day got off wrong.
Okay.
Because it's a New Year's party. And they invited us for 9 with no food.
Oh.
God.
And I'm like, my Danish heart is already bleeding. You know, like, what? Are we not sitting down for 13 hours? Until we can't move our legs because we've had so much red wine? What's going on? It's like a proper party. And then, of course, because it started at 9, we had to watch the Queen's speech at 6. And we had traveled down there, a small group of 6 people, and we were only 2 or 3 Danes. And we were like, oh, let's all meet in a hotel room and watch the Queen's speech. And, and I came in suit on, full face on, hair done up, and people were in their bathrobes. And I was like, no. It's the Queen you're talking to, and you're sitting in your fucking bathrobe. What's wrong with you?
Even my grandmother took the rollers out of her hair.
It was a lovely party, I have to say. But New Year's that's one of those, I think, mortal, written in blood agreements on don't change a fucking thing.
Yes. Same procedure as every
Yes, exactly. Literally. And they don't even show that in Germany.
What?
Yes.
It's from there.
I know.
Oh
it's so stupid. I asked the Germans, do you watch this? And they're like, no, it's only Denmark who watches it.
No, this is not for us.
Did you know they once took it off 1 year? And they got the biggest shitstorm.
Oh, I can imagine.
So it's been on ever since because they're afraid to take it off.
Of course.
Yeah.
Just coming with torches to the air.
And just
studios.
Maybe your viewers don't, or listeners, but it's this stupid video that they put on with this lonely widow and her servant, butler who drinks for all her dead friends and becomes incredibly drunk. And it's it's just old. It's from the 60s, 70s, I think.
For me, it's aspirational. I want to outlive all of my friends and just have a drunk butler. Friends take me to sleep at New Year's. Yeah. That's what I want. That's all anybody wants.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, we're back with Theo X, and otherwise known as my personal BFF, but we're going to defend that title and give Mike a chance to...
I can win you back.
I
can win you back.
So the way that we're going to play this game, we're calling it Hey Chico, after one of your songs. So your famously attempt at being bilingual with Hey Chico. Great song. And we want to see how much Spanish you actually know. So in this game, Mike is going to read a word in Spanish. And then I have to predict whether or not you're going to know the meaning of said word in Spanish.
Oh, wow. I hope it's food. Chorizo.
Right. So it's also in honor of our summer holiday in Spain. So it's helping us get in the mood.
Yeah. We need this is our Duolingo.
Exactly. So, ding. First one. Do you think Theo is going to know what Feliz Cumpleaños means?
I'm going to guess no.
Well, Feliz, I know from Feliz Navidad. So that must mean something like happy or merry. And what was cumpleaños?
Cumpleaños.
Cumpleaños. So happy anniversary.
Close.
No.
Close. Happy birthday.
Oh.
Happy birthday. To look at my Fusselstein.
Okay.
So,
damn.
So 1 point for Derek.
1 point for me.
Good. Next one. So this is going to take us back to how we learned Spanish in American high school. Do you know what Donde está la biblioteca?
I'm going to say yes. He'll know that one.
Yes. Where is the library?
Yes. Ding, ding. Well done. Third one. So from the song 99 Problems by Jay-Z. If you grew up with holes in your zapatos, you'd celebrate the minute you was having dough. Zapatos. What does zapatos mean?
I'm going to guess he will know what zapatos means.
That could almost be, in my mind, I'm like going back to country music. Like the holes in the boots or something.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Shoes. They're shoes. Another music one here. So number 4, do you think he's going to know the translation of Despacito?
No. But
Desperate?
Slowly.
Oh, okay.
Slowly.
all right. So
Yeah.
So there, you've hit your 4 for 4.
yeah.
Wow, you got all
looks like
of
we're
them.
He's defending it.
Jesus Christ.
He's defending it.
I haven't been wrong about Theo yet.
No, that's pretty good. And then the 5th one, the final one. Let's see if you get this one. Just to get the whole, you'll go 8 for 8 for the entire show. Do you think Teo's going to know what lo siento means?
I'm going to say no.
No. Lo siento.
Like, because Despacito was slowly, so siento, it's almost like silence or quiet. So, yeah, maybe like whispering.
It means I'm sorry.
That's
good.
But it really tried to be logical.
I like
for that. I like the
way you
logic.
thought.
I
Yeah.
thought about that. That's well done.
But lo siento, Michael.
Yeah, lo siento. You
Lo
are
siento,
8
Miguel.
for 8.
Okay.
I
What did
looks
it
like,
mean? Sorry, I forgot.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Yes. So,
Wow, Derek, you know your BFF. That's well done.
I do.
That's well done.
Yes.
He may know you better than you know you at this
I
point.
think he
you know?
does. Yes. Don't know whether to be happy or terrified.
Well, you're going to be terrified.
Okay.
I decided.
Yes,
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yes, you're gonna be
Now I am
terrified.
that. Yes.
And lo siento, but we have to say adios and wrap things here. But thank you, Theo X, so much for joining us and sharing your music with us and your thoughts on everything. I feel like we covered a lot of topics.
You are so welcome. It's been a blast. Thank you for
Thank you for
having me.
coming. This has been fantastic.
Well, anytime. Give me a call.
Will do. All right. Do you want to dance?
Yeah, I do.
Photo, a supernova flex, and pound my lips, wink, and show songs of hits.